Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. I hope you're all having a good day. Early and brisk morning today. I'm getting ready to go work on a little project. Let me see. That's part of it right there that I'm working on today. Hopefully it'll be done today. But I wanted to talk to you about today about what are you going to do when you walk into the supermarket and there's no food left. And I want you to understand that I don't think that this has been my message, but I'm going to explain this to you the way that I see it. Food will never go away completely. There will always be something. All right. You can go into the supermarket and there may be plenty of food there. It may be full of food, but there won't be any food there for you. All right. And what do I mean by that? Meaning that you can walk into a supermarket and not be able to afford a thing that's in there. And unless you're willing to steal, all right, and pay the consequences for that action if you get caught, then you're not going to have any of that food. There is, in my opinion, going to be food scarcity, and not in my opinion alone. I think one of the previous videos I did, the World Food Program CEO or coordinator or whatever his title is, he himself said that this year we would have food being unavailable to people because of the price of food, and that going into next year, food will become unavailable because there will be actual scarcity. So it's not even my opinion anymore. All right. It just happens to be the opinion of people that's what they do for a living, is they track how much food there is and how long we have with the food that they have in stock. Now they're saying that we only have a 70-day supply of wheat on Earth. And this news is a few days old, but I'll still use 70 days. That means that if within 70 days, no more new wheat is produced, then there's no more wheat on Earth, except for what may be on the shelves in supermarkets and warehouses. So remember when I talked to you all about carryovers, about that this year we are eating last year's harvest, and that coming into this year, after we harvest our new crop, that whatever we have left from last year is our carryover into the next year, right? It's our leftovers, right? That's what a carryover is. It's your leftovers. So what happens if our carryover runs out before our next harvest? Well, a lot of things will be affected depending on what that specific grain is, be it corn or be it wheat. In this case, we are talking about wheat. But this is the problem that I see, ladies and gentlemen, and it's something that you have to think about now, all right? Because preparedness is about getting ready for what may be coming, all right? What may happen a minute from now or an hour from now, but be ready well ahead of time. What does it really mean that we have 70 days of grains left? What it really means to me is not what will happen when that 70 days of grains is gone. Right? What will happen? That's not what I think about. What I think about is, what about next year's carryover? Remember that gentleman from the World Food Program was saying that next year there will be a scarcity problem? Why is that? The reason is because if our carryover from last year is only 60 to 70 days away, and then it's all depleted, do we think we're going to have a big enough harvest this year to fulfill our needs for the entire year and then still have a carryover into the following year? That's why that gentleman said, I forgot his name, Beasley or something like that. That is why he said that next year he sees actual scarcity of food, meaning food not being available. So now you can plan ahead. Now you know that next year, more than likely, unless we have a huge harvest this year, unless the harvest that we bring in is like one of the best that there's ever been. However, we've been following that, and you all know that that's not the case. That we have areas where they still haven't even planted yet because it's too wet. And we have areas where they're losing what they planted because it's too hot and dry. So we know that we're not going to have a very good harvest season because we're not even having a good planting season so far this year. I believe that for corn, I think it is, we're only at about 50%. Where normally by this time we would be like in the 80% or something like that this time of the year. So that's going to be a big deal. So keep that in the back of your mind. that we may only have 60-day carryover, but by the time that 60 days is over, we may have some crops out of the field to relieve the strain on our carryover being depleted. But what about next year's? And ladies and gentlemen, that is what you prepare for, is for next year's. This carryover that we've got, the 60, 70-day supply that we have left, this running out so soon is going to have a huge impact on price. And that's how I started the video, is there is going to be food available, ladies and gentlemen. It's just, are you going to be able to afford it? Are you going to be able to afford to go into a supermarket and pay $17 for a loaf of bread? But AP, I bake my own bread. Okay, are you going to be able to afford to go into a supermarket and pay $17 for a 5-pound bag of flour? And some people may not have a choice. They may have to do that because that's all they could afford, because that may be the cheapest thing on the shelf. We just don't know, and that's why we prepare. And that is also, ladies and gentlemen, why it is so very important. I am not a good example for this, all right, because I am still on the first steps of my journey in growing my own food. I haven't even started raising my own animals. That is why I am a prepper, because I don't have those resources available to me yet where I can grow my own food, where I can raise my own animals. I have not built the infrastructure, and I am starting. Hopefully we'll have a good non-winter season this year here in Alaska, and we'll have more time to get ready for those things. But food will never run out completely. But what if it does? You have to learn to grow your own stuff. Make sure that you're stocked up on seeds. Make sure that you're trying every year. Every year, give it a try. This year, I'm doing potatoes. That's it. I'm putting up potatoes this year, and then I'm going to work hard to try to get my greenhouse done and to try to get my chicken coop done. But I'm concentrating on one crop this year on potatoes, and that's it. Why? You know why? Because it's the easiest thing, in my opinion, to grow for someone that doesn't have any experience. That's why I'm doing that. So you have to learn how to grow your own stuff and how to raise your own animals if you want that protein, or at the very minimum, if you want some protein from eggs, from laying chickens. Another thing, get to know your neighbors, because everyone has their own kung fu, meaning that everyone has a skill that they're really good at, that they like doing. So get to know your neighbors, get to know the people around your community, get to know what their skill sets are, and be willing to help each other out. That way, when the day comes that things are not available, you'll already have gained their trust and they yours, where you can barter comfortably without thinking that the other one is going to try to knock you over the head. Right? And get to know the farmers in your area. Go to your farmers markets and talk to the people that sell produce there. Talk to them and ask them, so do you have a lot of extra every year? You know, normally how much do you sell? Hey, do you mind if I come over? Do you mind teaching me how to do what you do? I mean, whatever. Just bring up conversation. Don't go up there and say, hey, the world is coming to an end. You need to prepare. No, just become friends. Become friends. And then hopefully you will be able to benefit them and they will be able to benefit you in the future. Food will never run out completely. But who will have control of the food? That's the question. Will you have control of your sustenance, or will you allow the government to have control over the sustenance that you require in order to stay alive? That's what it comes down to, ladies and gentlemen. So no, food's not ever going to run out completely. I don't believe that you'll ever go into a supermarket and it will be completely bare. And if it is, then I hope that you're prepped. But the question is are you going to be able to afford to go into that store and buy the stuff that you need to live? Or are you going to have to grovel to the state and ask them for a loaf of bread? When right now, you have the time to go and put away what you need to make that loaf of bread in the future. That's what it comes down to. And ladies and gentlemen, let me say, remember to be kind to each other, all right? I know I talked about this in yesterday's live stream, but we need to be kind to each other. You know, yes, there is a time for your mean face to come out. And trust me, I have a mean face. But there is a time when it should come out. But be kind to each other. Be charitable, right? Be charitable with each other. You know, be charitable to others even though you don't know them. All right, ladies and gentlemen, because we only have each other. I mean, you see all of the stuff that's going on in the world with all of these elites trying to plan how they're going to control us in the future. And I'm not sure how much longer humanity will put up with it before things get a lot worse, before they can get any better. So get prepped. Prep your heart. Love your family. Pray to God if you have a God that you pray to. And just keep living. And I'm gonna say this again, but I will always give Full Spectrum Survival, Brad, I will always give him credit for this. I love that he says, go out there and do your work that you need so that you can live, right? And then once you got that work done, then go out there and do some prepping so that you can have insurance for life into the future. And then once you've done some prepping, then go out there and have a little bit of fun. Whatever you may call fun, go out there and have a little bit of fun. So love each other now while we are still here in this physical form. And then when it's time to go, you can be at peace that you did it your way. Having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I'm out.